Level 1. The Captive Digger. You stand knee-deep in freezing mud. You are not an employee. You are a prisoner of a brutal civil war. Heavily armed teenage rebels watch from the rim of the massive open pit. They hold rusted assault rifles and smoke cheap cigarettes. You have dug in the red earth for 14 grueling hours. Your hands are blistered and bleeding into the dirty water. Your stomach is hollow from starvation. You are searching for tiny pebbles that look like shards of broken glass. You do not care about luxury, you only care about surviving until sunset. If you stop digging, the guards will beat you with the heavy stocks of their weapons. If you run, they will shoot you in the back. You plunge your crude metal sieve into the muddy water again. You wash away the heavy gravel. Suddenly you see a faint glimmer in the silt. Yet it is a rough diamond the size of a fingernail. You know this stone is worth more than your village. Handing it over means another day of grueling slavery. You make a terrifying split-second decision. You slip the sharp stone under your tongue. You just stole from murderers. Level 2. The Camp Smuggler. You survive the theft, but the true terror is just beginning. You cannot keep the sharp stone in your mouth forever. You wait until the dead of night when the camp is asleep. You force yourself to swallow the rough diamond. It scratches your dry throat all the way down. You lie on the cold dirt floor, paralyzed by a suffocating paranoia. The rebel commanders frequently select miners for brutal physical searches. If they find a swallowed stone, the punishment is the immediate amputation of your hands with a rusted machete. So you live in a constant state of agonizing fear, waiting for your body to naturally take its course. When you finally recover the stone, you wipe it clean and wrap it in a tiny scrap of plastic. You wait for the cover of a massive tropical rainstorm. You crawl under the razor wire perimeter while the guards shelter inside their tents. The thick mud coats your body, making you invisible in the dark. You run frantically into the dense jungle. You have no money, no map, and no food. You only have a tiny blood-soaked rock hidden in your pocket. You are hunted prey. Level 3. The Jungle Runner. You walk for 5 grueling days through the dense, suffocating canopy. You drink stagnant water from broad leaves and avoid dirt roads where armed militia checkpoints operate. Yet you cross an invisible, unmarked border into a neighboring, politically stable country. You arrive in a chaotic, dusty frontier town teeming with desperate refugees and ruthless opportunists. You are emaciated and vibrating with absolute exhaustion. You find your way to a specific, unmarked, corrugated tin shack located behind a bustling market. You walk inside. The air is thick with cigar smoke and the harsh smell of cheap whiskey. A man sits behind a heavy wooden desk with a jeweler's loupe and a loaded pistol. You place the raw, unpolished stone on the green felt pad. He does not ask where you got it. He does not care about the freezing mud. He examines the stone carefully for internal flaws. He offers you a wad of crumpled, dirty American dollars. It is a pathetic fraction of its true global market value, but to you, it is a staggering fortune. You take the cash without negotiating. You buy a hot meal and a bus ticket out of the border zone. Level 4. The Frontier Buyer. You do not take the bus. You look at the wad of cash and realize the true nature of the game. You stay in the dangerous border town. You use the money to buy an unregistered firearm and a reliable motorcycle. You transform from a desperate runner into a calculated buyer. You wait in shadowy, smoke-filled taverns for the next exhausted, terrified miner to emerge from the jungle. You sit behind the heavy wooden desk now. When a bleeding man places a raw stone on your felt pad, you offer him the exact same pathetic fraction you were once given. You ruthlessly exploit their absolute desperation. You slowly accumulate a small hidden stash of highly valuable rough diamonds. Yet you realize the financial value of the stone increases exponentially with every single mile it travels away from the bloody pit. You forge lucrative relationships with corrupt local border guards. You pay them heavily to look the other way when you cross back and forth across the frontier. You are no longer a helpless victim. You are an active, willing participant. You sleep in a comfortable bed. You insulated yourself from the violence, but your soul is rapidly becoming black. Level 5. The Rebel Financier. Your smuggling operation grows exponentially. You no longer deal with desperate, starving individuals. You deal directly with the ruthless warlords who control massive mining sectors across the border. You drive heavily armored vehicles deep into the conflict zones. You do not bring cash to the warlords. Yes, paper cash is completely useless in the deep jungle. You bring heavy wooden crates of black market ammunition, smuggled assault rifles, and tactical radios. You sit in a canvas tent with a man responsible for horrific human rights abuses. You drink imported vodka and calmly negotiate exchange rates. You trade instruments of death directly for heavy bags of rough diamonds. You know exactly what those smuggled weapons will be used for. They will be used to terrorize unarmed villages, burn crops, and enslave hundreds more diggers. You experience a fleeting moment of profound moral revulsion, but you aggressively push it down. You look at the bags of dull stones and only see immense, soaring profit margins. You justify your actions by telling yourself that if you do not supply the weapons, another smuggler will. You become the critical logistical artery keeping the civil war burning endlessly. Level 6. The regional broker. You relocate your operations to the bustling capital city of the neighboring nation. You rent a heavily secured office suite in a high-rise building. You leave the jungle dust behind entirely. You wear custom-tailored suits and drive a bulletproof sedan. You are the vital bridge between chaotic conflict zones and sterile, wealthy global markets. You receive massive, heavy parcels of rough diamonds from various rebel factions and corrupt military generals. Your primary job is to completely sanitize the illicit product. You employ a network of brilliant and corrupt government bureaucrats. They meticulously falsify export documents and manipulate shipping manifests. They generate entirely fabricated paperwork claiming the stones were ethically mined in a conflict-free zone hundreds of miles away. You bribe government ministers with lavish gifts to secure the necessary official stamps. You are a master of geopolitical illusion. You seamlessly transform stones of war into legitimate commodities on paper. You mix dirty diamonds with clean, legally mined batches, making them indistinguishable to any international inspector. You dine with foreign diplomats while secretly financing the very bloody conflicts they publicly condemn. You have built an impenetrable fortress of plausible deniability. Level 7. The Global Courier. The newly sanitized stones need to rapidly reach massive international trading hubs in Europe or the Middle East. Yet you do not trust commercial shipping companies with millions of dollars in highly concentrated, untraceable assets. You become a highly specialized international courier. You are given a first-class plane ticket to Antwerp, Dubai, or Tel Aviv. You carry a sleek, reinforced titanium briefcase handcuffed directly to your wrist. The briefcase contains a registered diplomatic pouch that allows you to bypass regular customs inspections entirely. You walk calmly through bustling international airports surrounded by families going on vacation and wealthy businessmen. None of them have any idea that the quiet man sipping espresso in the VIP lounge is carrying the gross domestic product of a small, war-torn nation in his carry-on luggage. You feel a terrifying electric thrill. Yet you are a wealthy ghost moving seamlessly through the highly regulated global transportation network. You land in a freezing gray European city. You are driven in a heavily tinted sedan to an ultra-secure facility located in an exclusive diamond district. You hand the briefcase to a man behind thick bulletproof glass. Your job is done. Level 8. The Master Cutter. The rough stones must be physically altered to erase their bloody origins permanently. You are a master diamond cutter working in a highly secure, sterile laboratory in Antwerp. You wear magnifying visors and use precise lasers and diamond-tipped saws. You examine the rough stone pulled from the jungle. You do not see the mud, the sweat, or the sheer terror that brought it here. You only see the mathematical angles of light refraction and potential structural clarity. Yet you calculate exactly how to cleave the stone to maximize its carat weight and visual brilliance. You make the incredibly delicate, irreversible cuts. You polish the facets until they shine with blinding, flawless perfection. By physically changing the shape of the stone, you completely destroy its original identifying characteristics. It is a profound act of physical laundering. The stone that was pulled from a muddy pit by a starving prisoner under the terrifying threat of death is now a breathtaking, mathematically perfect jewel. You carefully place it on a velvet display tray under bright halogen lights. It is now completely severed from its dark history. You wipe the diamond dust from your hands and go home to your peaceful life. Level 9. The Corrupt Certifier. As the polished stone needs a universally recognized passport to legally enter the legitimate luxury market. You are an official appraiser and certifier working within the international regulatory framework. Your entire job is supposed to prevent blood diamonds from reaching unwitting consumers. Instead, you are the final crucial loophole in the system. You sit in a pristine, brilliantly lit corporate office. The broker presents the newly cut stone alongside a thick stack of sophisticated, perfectly forged documents originating from Africa. You know exactly what you are looking at. You know the certificates are fake. You know the stone has a dark, incredibly violent past. But the broker silently slides a massive, completely untraceable digital currency transfer into your private wallet. You place the diamond under the heavy microscope. You officially grade its color, cut, clarity, and carat weight. You print a highly secure, officially sanctioned certificate adorned with complex holographic seals. You formally declare the stone completely ethical, conflict-free, and legally sourced. You provide the ultimate impenetrable shield of global legitimacy. You allow the darkest, most violent industry on earth to operate in plain sight under the proud banner of ethical capitalism. Level 10. The Syndicate Oligarch. You sit at the absolute pinnacle of the global luxury empire. You operate out of a massive penthouse office in Geneva or London. You are the powerful CEO of a multinational luxury conglomerate. You do not touch the rough stones. You do not deal with smugglers, mercenaries, or warlords. You deal entirely in pristine, heavily branded romance. Yet you purchase certified polished diamonds and set them into breathtaking, expensive jewelry pieces. You launch massive multi-million-dollar global advertising campaigns. You plaster giant images of famous models wearing your diamonds on billboards in Paris, New York, and Tokyo. You sell the abstract concept of eternal love, purity, and absolute commitment. A young man walks into your brightly lit, heavily guarded retail boutique. He proudly spends his entire life savings on a diamond engagement ring. He slides it onto his fiancée's finger in a romantic restaurant. She weeps with absolute joy. They have absolutely no idea that the symbol of their pure love was violently ripped from the earth by a starving prisoner under the threat of a rusted rifle. You successfully abstracted raw violence into pure corporate profit. Yet you manipulated the deepest human emotions to launder the darkest human cruelty. The blood is washed away entirely.